Hey, this is Paul, and today I'm going to talk about our organic treatment for cactus rust, and you're actually going to be able to fertilize your plants with this product while you treat the cactus rust. So this is the first plant, Queen Daenerys, that I applied this on, and this is Norwegian sea kelp. And you want to make sure you get the right one that says Ascophyllum nodosum. There's tons of different types of sea kelp, and many are just algae, but this is the one that we learned from a grower named Wendy, and she grew plants for Whole Foods. And she swears by this product. They've been using it for years. In fact, they grow their plants under 50% shade cloth. But they said that this is their #1 go-to to treat cactus rust. So I gave it a shot, and as you see, we did have great results. So this has been about 3 weeks, and we did just get a foot of rain. So maybe 4 weeks now I've been treating it. And I left them alone during the rainstorm. You could see that this is what you want when they start to callus over or dry up, and you could just pop them off. So to me, this rust is not active, maybe slightly here, but really good results. Now, you also have nitrogen and potassium. So this will help, and along with all the micronutrients and minerals, and do a foliar spray. So we're gonna show you how to do that. But in fact, I've actually been treating all these plants up here, so let's see how they're doing. So this is Dom Burnett's 1-3, and we called it Honesty. You can see it has a little bit of active rust still, but generally the plants are pretty healthy. Now you'll see that the actual cactus rust will look for a spot. It's airborne. It's an airborne fungus, and there's over 3,500 species of it. And they'll find a little weak point in the plant, especially on the younger growth. As you can see, they tend to not develop as much on the older growth. So they like to attack anything, or if a pest was in there. And again, this fungus will spread everywhere. It's airborne here. And so it's spread up the hill to these plants here, these different varieties. One of Leo Manuel's. This is Connie G. Actually got it pretty bad.
Yeah, that's a bad
you can
case.
see.
It's
And
like
it didn't help.
venereal disease.
Oh yeah. Well, we also got a foot of rain, so that was unprecedented. And honestly, most of the time, believe it or not, I'll see a spine off another branch kind of damage the plant, and that's where the rust kind of penetrates first. And it will go into the cell and just suck out the nutrients. And it emits some proteins, and if the plant detects them, it will kill that cell, which will kill the rust. But dry days like today, that's really gonna help kind of blast this and kill it as well. But you can see, generally, they're doing much better than what they were. I mean, this is not pretty, but we had a really bad bout of rust here.
When it starts to change color, like get darker, you can kind of see it start.
Yeah, and these will still produce fruit. I mean, you just don't want to spread it as much. So I tend to prune off some really bad ones just because we have so many plants. Like I would prune off this one. But you can see it's just really active, but it's actually really dying back. And you can see the residual of the Norwegian sea kelp foliar spray there. Even after the rain, it still stayed on there. But it spread really bad, and some varieties get it worse than others. Like it got on this Esmeralda really recently in cotton candy. But other varieties, they just tend to not really get much rust. Sugar Dragon will get it, but not quite as bad in my opinion. But we've been spraying these, and I see a lot of good results. I mean, I still see some, and I'm gonna spray this for probably the next 4 to 5 days straight, and I like to spray in the evening. So let me go show you how I treat it. We got it down the hill, and I found a really bad example, or I guess a good example for this video, but we have a lot of cactus rust on this plant here. As you can see, it is bad. Probably the worst in the yard. Now, believe it or not, the first problem was actually due to this tree here, this palm tree. So it was really big and developed, and it was putting out shade for most of the day. So these plants in this area were shaded, and that really just added more problems because the wet, cold weather that we have in the winter, the water will just sit on these branches, and that's where the cactus rust really thrives. Really cold, wet, humid environment. So what I'm gonna do in this case of this one is I put in 2 teaspoons. It's actually more than what's recommended. They recommend 1 teaspoon per gallon. So I've been using it a little bit stronger, and then I just really give it a good spray. Now, this is not the best time of day to do it because it's sunny. I recommend doing it in the evening. That's when I like to do it. But for today's episode, we're gonna spray it in the middle of the day. And as you can see, it goes nice and dark. And we're giving it nutrients, a little bit of nitrogen, and a lot of potassium.
Yeah, they can absorb nutrients through their skin, right?
Yes, so this is a foliar spray. I hope to someday buy a big backpack one if I can afford it, so that way I can do this much more efficiently and effectively. And you know, there's many ways to treat this. If you want to go conventional, you could use things we've shown in the past, like copper fungicide works about the same in my experience. Hydrogen peroxide, a lot of people use that, but I feel like that can actually
Or
maybe
cinnamon, right?
Cinnamon, some people swear by cinnamon, and even neem oil will work. But man, I'm having such better results, I think. I mean, because cactus rust in Southern California this time of year is just inevitable, especially when you have as many plants as we do. And we have different varieties of cacti, so even up the hill we have a lot of succulents I collect, and I'm sure that some of them get rust, and again, it's airborne. It's not in the soil, it spreads by the air or insects. So in this case, I just make sure I spray as much as I can. You can go really heavy on it. And honestly, normally I'd probably prune off some of these branches, but this will be a really good experiment to see how well this treatment works.
Yeah, that's another solution, is just pruning if you have a lot to prune.
Yeah, and again, I'm fertilizing as I go. So this is just gonna benefit the plant. It's not gonna hurt it at all. And if anything, maybe the negative I could think of is I'm giving a lot of potassium in February, which could be bad because potassium induces buds. But as you can see, I don't see any buds because temperature and the daylight and the amount of sunlight are all factors for budding as well. So in my humble opinion, I think I'm actually just giving this plant a nice little foliar spray of vitamins is how I kind of imagine it. And inside kelp are some really amazing things. There's a lot of growth hormones, a lot of minerals, trace minerals, and nutrients and vitamins. So to me, it's just like giving your plant a multivitamin. So I spray all the plants with this product. And generally, I'm seeing a lot of new growth too, as you can see, in February, which is early. And that could also be due to the prolific amount of rainfall, like I said. And in really bad cases, honestly, I think I recommend to just prune some branches off. So, like something like this, see how rotten that is?
Yeah,
that's a weak point, so you just want to cut it. So I do something like that. I was always curious, you could see like an old bit of rust here. Let's see some that healed up. You can pop it off really easily. You could even use your fingernail. And see, just like that. But the new rust, you can pop it off as well. And it's very shallow. It's kind of on the top layer, if you see. But I wouldn't recommend doing this to heal your plants, as you can see. But that's active. It's going to be this orange color, and it's still going to be spreading spores and looking for any weak point in the plant to penetrate it and spread its DNA. So definitely recommend using this stuff. I've had nothing but success. We'll put a link in the description. I found it on Amazon, a very similar product. But the most key thing are two. You gotta have a soluble seaweed powder. It's gotta be water soluble. And then it has to be this variety, Ascophyllum nodosum. So that's what I've learned from farms that have a lot more growing experience than I do. And they swear by this product. And when I got to see their plants, they were extremely healthy. So a lot of people are trying this now. We've done a short video on this, and people are reporting having great success. So give it a shot, and hopefully you'll have good results like us. All right, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Take care.